We are now into the new fiscal year, started July the 1st for the state. Good time to see what worked in the first half and maybe some adjustments you can make to your portfolio for the rest of 2026. Let's bring back in financial analyst Andy Fast Wealth Management. Andy, good to have you back as always.
Thanks for having me.
We seek your counsel. So market conditions certainly can change on any number of things, global conflicts.
Sure.
So is mid-year a good time to check your risks, see where you stand?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, constantly doing is a good idea, but at least at the fiscal year, at the halfway point, because we have 6 months track record. Now we can know, you can look at your portfolio and say, well, you know, the market, like the S&P is up 10%. How am I doing relative to that benchmark? So you may have to look at it and go, you know, I may have to make some judicious changes,
Sure.
or maybe going along well and, you know, check how it relates to your risk tolerance and your risk capacity.
Is your 401k or your Roth, anything like that, should you be checking that all the time, or maybe just this time of the year we're into that new fiscal year?
Yeah, at a minimum, at the midway point, you know, I wouldn't say check it every day, but at least check it on a regular basis.
I know people who do that,
yeah, I know
and
people
it's driving them crazy,
That's right.
and then it drives you crazy.
It does.
Because you get the phone calls.
Right, but you know, when people tend to react to headlines and market volatility, and what you really want to do is look at the plan. Are you on track? You know, is it doing what you want to do? You know, is it, again, meeting those goals? And say, you know, am I accumulating when I want to eventually use it for my retirement and to generate income? And if it's not, do something. Are my employer contributions, you know, is my employer matching my contributions?
Right.
Am I putting in enough to at least make that match? Those are all questions you should be asking yourself.
Do you recommend family budgets? And there's a lot of people that don't do that.
Yeah.
So what happens then?
One of my favorite topics. We recommend it to everybody at every age level.
Okay.
Budgeting is critical. You know, a good budget will keep you on track, stop you from overspending and getting to the debt, you know, which we know credit cards are crazy. But it also gives you the ability to look at your overall picture and say, I have this much to invest that I don't need on a daily basis, and put that to work for you. So budgeting is absolutely critical.
So tax planning as well, maybe make some adjustments to withholding, or there's estimated payments. So
Right.
at the end of the year, April 15th, you're not getting crushed by Uncle Sam.
Right, right. Yeah, we think every financial decision you make has a tax consequence. And so you need to keep that in consideration. You know, a lot of people will invest in, for example, mutual funds. And then at the end of the year, they get this big surprise with all these capital gains distributions. Not so much of a big deal in a qualified plan, but if you're doing it outside of that, you could get hit with a hefty tax bill. You mentioned estimated payments. If you work for yourself, you got to keep up those payments, or else there's penalties involved too. So yes, tax planning is, even in qualified plans, because eventually you're going to be taking that money out, and you're going to have to consider RMDs and other tax consequences to those actions.
All right, we're just about out of time, but you also told me to update the beneficiaries,
Oh, yeah.
and that's pretty important.
I think, again, that's also critical. So many people don't think about those things, and then, you know, on insurance, on annuities, on retirement plans, and then they get a big surprise when the money doesn't go to whom they really want it to go to. I see that more often than not.
The family beef.
I tell you,
big beef.
The big, incredible. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
So yeah, check those regularly.
All right, it's on the list.
Great.
Andy Fast Wealth Management. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks again for having me.
Sure.